Hello, my name is William Hayward, and this is Radio for Europe in Exile. Here's a lot of interesting images and some statistics on the overall capabilities of the United States military. It's an interesting thing to watch, in particular because the video gives a pretty good synopsis of exactly what the U.S. military is capable of. Now, so the title of the video, America, a horse with no name, of course from the famous song, but by the American band America. But a horse with no name, in my opinion, kind of applies here. The United States, under different administrations, as in many ways a different country. Uh, the United States under Barack Obama is truly a horse with no name, a dark horse, and in this case, and his predecessor, another sort of dark horse. I'm not referring to this in any kind of apocalyptic way exactly. I'm just making a statement that I think is viable. The amount of military power, modern military power, much of it is sea-based, uh, but it is connected to the air capacity of the United States military forces. So both the amphibious and water-based forces are the most dangerous for any conventional war. The later in the video goes we go to the different things, but this is the big hardware, and this type of hardware is unmatched. There are people out there go, well, China and Russia could match it. Well, it would be the mother of all battles, but it is unlikely that there would be such a conflict. In my opinion, the modern wars are fought against groups like ISIS or ISIL or IS or whatever their current incarnation is, and these people have very few resources compared to that which you're looking at now. So, how do they win? Well, the guerrilla armies, the guerrilla fighters, whether it be even Central American drug lords and ISIS uh, and other Islamic groups, tend to fight these wars of attrition, these um, small-scale wars that are very effective worldwide. Also, the use of terror. So, using this type of firepower that you're looking at here, this American firepower, is like trying to swat a mosquito, with with a Buick. You've got a blunt instrument that is not ineffective, but is not overall effective in fighting guerrilla warfare. Not to say that the United States or its NATO allies are not good at fighting counter guerrilla warfare. They are, but that means, of course, boots on the ground. This sort of thing was Cold War based. It was meant to fight large columns of soldiers, meant to fight large groups of battleships, and air-to-air combat and air-to-ground combat, and vice versa. This is a really cool scene where it comes up through the ice. Reminds me of that movie Ice Station Zebra back in the day, starring Eric Braeden, I think. Really great film. And it was about the capacity of, even back then, in the 1940s, technology to operate under almost any conditions. But how are you going to take out a guerrilla ISIS fighter, hiding in the sand with a Russian-made or Chinese-made Kalashnikov? How are you going to find him? He can go and he can take out hundreds of civilians and, or snipers just by himself. It reminds me of my last video, where it shows this I think an F-18, American F-18 coming in and just dropping huge amounts of bombs, probably worth $20,000 each, on one guy planting an ISIS flag on a hill. And then, oddly, the guy survives, if you've watched my other video about that. But the demonstration here is that American air power, American overall military power, which is the greatest force in the world, most powerful force, military force on the planet, it cannot be defeated in an outright battle. So what you've got with the successive groups, guerrilla groups like ISIS or the in Central America, the drug lords who are just about as ruthless, if not exactly as ruthless as ISIS. You don't hear about that much in the news, but we are still at war with them. We've got CIA operatives. We do airstrikes down there on occasion in places in Central America, and we still cannot defeat them. They're entrenched. They're dug in, and the only way to get them is house to house, door to door. You know, and even then you don't really know who the bad guys are. The bad guys are very good at pretending to be good guys. They do it all the time. That's why in places like Afghanistan or even Fort Hood, the Fort Hood massacre, you've got a lieutenant colonel, I think he was, a Muslim, who, just one day went and opened fire on all of his colleagues there at the Pentagon. This type of warfare is unpredictable and difficult to fight, despite the fact that you've got what we see here, with the gunships and the aircraft carriers and all this. ISIS and other guerrilla groups around the world that are ruthless and have intent to kill um, people in the West, or me, or you, or anybody else, cannot be fought with conventional warfare. We just haven't figured that out. Now, Saddam Hussein's army was taken out effectively and quickly by this type of technology and firepower because it was a conventional fighting force. It was Iraq was really a World War II battle that just hadn't been fought yet. It was one of the battles that wasn't fought, and so it was fought. George W. Bush decided it was important to fight this final battle of the Second World War. I believe that it's systemic. I believe that this is what is happening now is really an extension of the earlier wars that were fought, World War One and World War Two. It all started in World War One, the Black Hand. It all started in Sarajevo, and now we're still fighting that war. The Nazis are all dead. The Soviet Union has collapsed. And now what have we got? We've got the rise of radical Islam, and that's a war that predates it, back to the 1400s, the 1600s, the the march of the Islamists upon Europe.